There are 6 wildcard games opening weekend of the NFL playoffs. If you want to figure out how to wager on any of the 6, Ike and I are going to be talking about that on today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers show.
365, 24/7, regardless on what sport it is. And obviously, it's playoff season right now that starts Saturday. But make sure y'all go to betonline.ag.
Yes, you can see betonline.ag on your screen right now. And you see right next to it our promo code Bleav. That'll get you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Welcome to the Bleav in Steelers show on the Bleav Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined as always by my guy, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 12-year veteran, and Pittsburgh Steelers scout, number 24, Ike Taylor. IT, talking some playoffs today, talking coaching vacancies, talking Justin Fields and the Bears with the number 1 pick. But we're going to start Steelers opponents in 2023. We know who they will play and who the rest of the AFC North will play. So the AFC North this season is going to be matched up against, give me just a second really quickly here, because I pulled up my notes, AFC South and NFC West. So at home, the Steelers are going to play the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns, customary in the division. Also at home, Cardinals, Packers, Jags, Patriots, 49ers, and Titans. On the road, the Steelers will play Ravens, Bengals, Browns, in addition to the Texans, Colts, Raiders, Rams, and Seahawks. And Ike, the reason I bring this up, the Steelers had more wins against playoff teams this season than 3 of the teams in the AFC playoffs. So my point being with this, schedules matter.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the away games, Pittsburgh, other than outside of the division, Pittsburgh should at least win out on the away games. I'm just speculating. I'm just guessing. I think they got an opportunity to beat every team you name when it came to the away game. You know, the divisional opponents, Mark, going to be tough regardless on what the record is. That's just how it is because everybody know everybody in that division, and they play each other twice. So that's always going to be a tough matchup. But the away games, Mark, I like Pittsburgh Steelers' eyes on them away games, for real.
Yeah, and I've seen some people put out records on social media. I'm not going to do that yet because I want to see what happens in free agency, what happens in the draft. The coaching carousel is in full swing right now. There's 5 vacancies. I'm not even going to put a record out there yet. Might not be popular. We don't have enough information for me to even give a good speculative guess, but you're hoping that the Steelers can improve upon what was a 9-8 record in the 2022 season.
Yeah, I think definitely the Pittsburgh Steelers will improve in their record next year from this year to past season. First of all, you got Kenny Pickett, and we saw his production as a rookie quarterback, him make strides throughout the season. George Pickens, him make strides throughout the season. Najee actually getting kind of healthy, him making strides, him sticking his foot in the ground. Jaylen Warren coming off the bench. Before he hurt his hammy, coming off the bench, man, is just seeing what Jaylen Warren was doing. Defense held it down, you know, and it looks like the defense will get better. We'll see what happens in the offseason as far as like adding pieces. But Coach T, man, he's just another magician. I mean, Mark, to go from 2 to 6, 2 to 6, 2 to 6 looks slim to none, doesn't look good at all. To 9-8 says a lot. So, yeah, this was a rebuilding year, regardless on how people want to look at it. They rebuilt, but they rebuilt during the season. And we talked about the offensive line a lot in training camp, but this is, you know, one of the only offensive line guys who all 5 played all the snaps together in the NFL. So offensive line definitely got better. So we really can't say too much about offensive line. So as a coach, just in total, to have a young team, to have a Hall of Fame quarterback leave your franchise, and to have a rookie quarterback come in and step up, you're really not that pissed off as a coach on what happened throughout your season in Coach Tomlin. You know,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We talked about Coach Matt Canada, but honestly, you know, he developed Mark, and I forgot we was talking about last year. Like all Coach Matt Canada wants is somebody who can get outside the pocket a little bit. And then he wound up having it. And I guess we just forgot because we was just so used to Ben doing his audibles and freestyle and making his own plays. Like, you know, he playing with a rookie quarterback. Coach Matt Canada. So they need to get in. They needed to get to know each other. So we shall see what happens in the off season, Mark. But I mean, where Pittsburgh was at the beginning of the year, Mark, to how they ended. I mean, and looking at their roster and seeing how many young guys they had playing, you can't be mad.
Yeah, I've got 3 thoughts, and we will go to what Yinz think after. 3 thoughts with this. At this point, personally, I would be surprised if Matt Canada is not brought back for 2023. I just think enough time's gone on. However you feel about it, we'll see. It could happen, but if you were going to make that change, to me, would have happened immediately after the offseason, but we'll see with that. That could obviously change. That's just my personal opinion. 2 other things. Let's mention how schedules matter. The record on the front half of the season, we said looking at the Steelers' 2022 schedule, that was going to be more difficult on the front end than the back end. We said that from the get-go when we were talking a year ago, when we knew, okay, here are the dates of when the Steelers will play their opponents. And then number 3, you talk about a young offense where, and I've said it before, Deontay Johnson is 26 years old, and he's like the elder statesman. A lot of times in the league, it's, this team's getting older. They need to get some fresh blood in there. Getting older is actually just going to benefit this offense because they are very, very, very young. And that's why you see the growth and the development and the improvement throughout the course of the season, because they're still getting that valuable experience of what it means to be an NFL athlete.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it. Being old in the NFL or being a veteran in the NFL is a good thing. That means you're seasoned real well. You know exactly what you need to do, and you know how to be a professional. So there's nothing wrong with being called old or being a veteran in the NFL. That's a great thing. That's a great thing to have as a coach. That's a great thing on the personal side as a professional. That's a great thing to just be in the league and to have that kind of status. When you're in the league and somebody call you a vet, that's a pretty damn good status. That means you know what to do at all times. You're very professional at all times. You know how the business is ran. You know what you need to do on and off the field. So, and Deontay is a vet now at 26 years old. I mean, historically, Cam Hayward is the ultimate veteran guy on that football team. But as far as like when it comes down to the offensive side, 26 years old in the real world is young. 26 in the football world is, becoming a seasoned veteran, which is a good thing.
This is a perfect segue for what Yinz think. This is where our viewers and listeners write in and ask us questions. And so this first one comes from A.K. Davis. A.K. Davis writes, I've been a Steelers fan since 1975 and often wondered about something. I see several retired players who played for several teams, but if one of those teams was the Steelers, they want to be remembered as a Steeler because it's the time frame of their career that they speak about the most. What you see them picking games, when you see them picking games, they still bleed black and gold. Can Ike speak to that and what it means for those Steelers, why it is that they favor the Steelers if they've played for multiple teams in their career? Thanks.
First of all, you got to start off with the Rooney family. You got to start off with the open door policy. You got to start off with the owner coming down to the locker room. You got to start off with the owner having his door open just in case a player or anybody have a question or have something on their mind. You got to start off with the owners and the Rooney family for Christmas, giving everybody Christmas gifts. You just got to start off with the Rooneys, one, and just how they get and understand what it is and how they value the players. So it's a player first atmosphere, and that goes out to the Rooneys since 1933, going on train trips, Papa Dan and now Mr. Art, just being around the players all their life. That was the way they made their money. The Rooney family. This wasn't a second venture. A lot of owners right now, it's just a hobby for them. They got money to play with, so they'll wind up buying themselves a football team. For the Rooney family, this was the way of life. So I got to start off with the Rooneys. 1, 2 is the city of Pittsburgh, and I tell people this all the time. If you just Google and you search per ratio, how many billionaires stay or come from Pittsburgh in the world from Pittsburgh, you'll see this a lot. So, but the good thing about it is they don't want you to know. So you got all this money, but you still see the Ford F-150s, you still see the pickup trucks, you still see the Toyota Camrys, you still see the lunch piles, the lunch boxes, you still see people just going about their day. You still see the family atmosphere. That's what bring people back to Pittsburgh. That's why former players talk about Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh embraced the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, when you want to talk about family, and I've seen this numerous of times, not even in the locker room, but just outside the locker room with a lot of people I know who in Pittsburgh. They said they didn't want to leave Pittsburgh, and they wind up moving. They wind up moving to the Miami. They wind up moving to California, and they always come back. Because by the end of the day, family means everything, and that's just the city of Pittsburgh. Family is everything. Now we got to get to the locker room. The locker room is a brotherhood, so you're able to be yourself. And when you hold yourself, or when we hold ourselves accountable in that locker room, that says a lot. That says, man, I care and I love you. So yeah, we're gonna hash it out. And you know, brothers, sometimes they fight. That's just what it is. But they shake hands and they hug and they kiss and they make up. That's just what it is. But when I care about you, and I keep it in house. That's what I like about Pittsburgh. They keep it in house. They don't go to the media. If it's something in the locker room we need to talk about, we're going to talk about. And you got to tip your hat to Coach T. And I was able to be under Coach Cowell as well. Everything that happened stayed in house. Everything that needed to be resolved stayed in house. We didn't let the media know what was going on. And that's just what it was. But Pittsburgh is just a little bit different, Mark. It grows on you, and once Pittsburgh grows on you, it don't come off at all. I was talking to Corey Shavers. I don't know if people remember Corey Shavers yesterday. He was a DB for Minnesota, and never played for Pittsburgh. He said, "Ike, you a scout?" I said, "Yes, sir, I'm a scout for Pittsburgh." And Corey been doing the scouting business since he been playing for a long time, since 2006, 2007. I've been knowing Corey. He said Pittsburgh really do treat you like family. I said, yeah, Pittsburgh really do treat you like family. And regardless of whether you're Pittsburgh Steelers for a week or 13 years, it just grows on you, Mark. So big shout out to the question, but a huge shout out to the Pittsburgh, not only Steelers, but the city of Pittsburgh.
Like, tremendous response. And you were pictured with Corey Shavers on your Instagram story. Is that correct, Ike?
Correct.
Down at the Hula Bowl. And so I will make sure Ike's Instagram page, one of a kind, is in our social media notes. So anyone watching, go check that out. Ike doing some scouting for the Steelers at the Hula Bowl. I'm excited to get into the offseason, Ike, but we still have a lot in the playoffs to discuss. Right. And tremendous answer. And AK Davis, thank you for that. For writing in. Great question. Great question. We got one more to get to, Ike. Captain Spartan 04 writes, so we just watched Georgia absolutely destroy TCU in the national championship. From Yin's perspective, what makes football just so different in the South and the SEC? And Ike, I'm going to take this off the top because I lived in SEC country for 5 years of my life, both at the University of Missouri, and I started my career in Knoxville, Tennessee, where the University of Tennessee is. For me, it's the regionality, to where a lot of these cities don't have a pro team nearby. So if you're in East Tennessee, the closest pro team that you can go to, if you want to drive 2.5 hours down Interstate 40, you could go see the Tennessee Titans play in Nashville. But it's the regionality, and it's also, it's like, to say football's religion in the South is an understatement. Like, when you've won 13 of the last 17 national championships, okay, why is that? And then I look at the recruiting standpoint, because I think about the players. And we talk about this all the time. Okay, where's this specific player from? I'm telling you where all the best recruits from. And if I were a college coach, where I would try to recruit: Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, parts of Texas, California. It's not to say that there aren't great players from Pennsylvania or Ohio, but right. In the southern states, when you can train year round, you can have 7-on-7 leagues year round, and it's warm outside to where you can go outside and you can work on drills, you can work on running, you can work on your strength, you can work on your speed. You know, where I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, like, you'd have to go to an indoor facility to do a lot of this during the winter time. Right. And you don't have that benefit of, hey, I can be outside year round in the South. So to answer that question, Ike, it's regionality, it's climate, and it's where a hotbed of players come in the league. And I would venture to say, Ike, I don't know this for a fact, but if you took a look at all of the players that are currently in the NFL, where are they from? I would put good money that they're either from Florida, Louisiana, Texas, or California.
So the reason why the mentality is just different down south. We feel like we always got our back against the wall down south, but it's a Southern hospitality, and that's what I tell people. It's the yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, holding yourself accountable. Personality down south. That's just what it is. But it's the competition. We just love to compete. So not only down south do you give us good weather that we can train year round, we respect alphas and we acknowledge them. So it's, man, I gotta be better than you. Yeah, you got me today, but I gotta be way better than you. I think the competition is way just totally different. I think the mindset is just different down south. That's exactly what it is. Like when I say this all the time, between New Orleans boys and Miami boys, we the same. We just in two different states because we always feel like our backs against the wall, and we always feel like we got something to prove. That's how I feel. And the competition is just here. If you think you good, you come to a down south team. That's where you come to. And I tell people this, man, Florida boys think they was born to play football. That's just their personality. New Orleans boys that feel like they were just born to play football. That's just their personality. We don't have the luxury like a Texas where you're in high school and you have a $70 million stadium. There is no luxury. We got potholes, we got glass, we got dirt slash turf on our fields. So it's a little bit different. We don't have the water breaks. We don't have a training staff that's 75, 80 people. We don't have that. It's okay. They call a timeout. We catch a water break, and we down here in that swamp, that humidity, that dirt, that gut, that you can't even walk outside because you got to come home and take another shower from your mailbox kind of mentality.
Yep.
But we love it. So everybody, I don't care where you from, if you think you good, you coming south. The only thing we getting from the West Coast, and this is no disrespect.
Here we go.
Quarterbacks from the West Coast because they're always cool, calm, and collective. And what the heck you want in your quarterback? You want a cool, calm, collective kind of guy. You getting your quarterback from either Cali or Texas. Because in Texas, 7-on-7 is real high. They play year-round. The boys get nothing but reps. So if you get a quarterback from Texas, you got action. He going to know where to go once he get to college because in high school, he done had so many reps. I mean, when you want to talk about offense and defensive lineman, man, just look at Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina. When you want to talk about wide receivers, just look at Florida. When you want to talk about DBs or wide receivers, look at Florida, look at Louisiana, look at some of Texas. It's just the mentality down here. So up north, I would say the weather kind of hinders y'all up north. When you want to talk up north, you talk about offensive linemen. You talk about wrestling. You talk about a lot of indoor activities up north. Down south, our mentality is just all the way different. We're outside all day. I mean, if you look at it, Mark, it's 60-something degrees at 9 o'clock. In Florida, it's going to be 78 degrees on Sunday. Up north, it's not like that. So we always in our shorts and the hoodie down south. So we always outside, but that mud a little bit different. The dirt down here a little bit different. The soil down here a little bit different. It's swampy down here, baby. It's swampy down here. So when you go into that swamp, man, your mentality got to be different. Ain't no swamp up north. Ain't no swamp on the West Coast. Once you step foot in any region down south, understand, man, we always got a chip on our shoulder.
I could talk to you about this till sundown, and I've never thought about the regionality when it comes to position groups. Because the two guys in high school I played with that were teammates of mine that made it in the NFL, shout out to Matt Lacoste and James O'Shaughnessy. They're both NFL tight ends. They played receiver and quarterback for us in high school. But you think about the regionality of the position groups by region because of all the reasons you just outlined. Well said, Ike. Well said.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Okay. Playoff weekend, wild card weekend gets underway this weekend. Ike, 6 games and all 6 matchups the teams played in the regular season. And speaking of the regionality too, Ike, We got 3 Florida teams in the playoffs this year, in the Jags, the Bucks, and the Dolphins.
Right.
But we're going to start in order with the Saturday game. Seahawks against 49ers, Ike. And Kyle Shanahan, to me, is the quarterback whisperer. And Brock Purdy has led this San Francisco offense to an NFL high, 194 points since taking over for Jimmy G in week 13. It's the only quarterback other than Dan Marino and Billy Volek to have multiple touchdown passes in each of his first 5 starts. I like what Brock Purdy is doing. He's been playing pretty good. I'll take the 49ers against the Seahawks. Now, 10 points is a lot, but throw this in a money line parlay. That's how I would do this. I don't think there's any chance that the 49ers lose at home.
Yeah, Brock Purdy on that red shirt, yeah. What I mean by red shirt is Brock Purdy got #1 defense in the league. He got probably the best offensive line in the league. He got the best running back in CMC. I know Elijah just came back from off an injury as well with the San Francisco 49ers. He probably got one of the most explosive tight ends in the league, and he got a receiver that's named Debo. And I don't know if anybody saw the movie Friday, but go check out what Debo was doing. So yeah, he got a red shirt, yeah. So all they asked Purdy to do is keep it Purdy and not make turnovers. That's all they asked him to do. Hand the ball off, and if you don't like what you see, run it or throw it out of bounds. And since he's been doing that, they've been ahead of the game and winning the way they win. But man, he on scholarship right now. He got a red shirt year right now. He got a red shirt year because they're not asking Purdy to win a ball game. He got everything. If you want to be a rookie quarterback, this is exactly how you want to walk on stage. You want to walk on stage with the #1 producer. You want to walk on stage with the #1 actor. You want to walk on stage with the best supporting cast. Because all you need to do is say a few lines, and this is exactly what Purdy is doing. Now let's give credit to Purdy.
Yeah,
he's been doing everything he needed to do, playing with a lot of confidence, not turning the ball over, understanding he got a good defense, offensive line, running back duo, and receivers in the tight end. I mean, and goddamn, Coach Kyle Shanahan it's like he catching fire. I mean, every week he got something new going on. It's like this gonna be I'm gonna get him the ball. I'm gonna feature him this week. That's how Coach Shanahan is doing what he's doing right now. And the Seahawks, you can't discredit Seahawks. Shout out to Geno Smith for proving everybody wrong, including myself this year, on coming out and getting the Seahawks into a playoff. I mean, when we talk about Russ leaving and we was looking at the Denver Broncos and we was asking ourselves who's going to be the starter, and we said Geno Smith, I think everybody would have thought Russ would have had a better season than Geno. Geno said, F all y'all. I got something for y'all. I'm in the playoffs, and Russ sitting at home watching me play. And shout out to Coach Pete Carroll, too, for getting his team in the playoffs with a new quarterback under center. So, I mean, I heard what Coach Pete said. Unfortunately, we got to play the 49ers, but I ain't buying that because Coach been to too many Super Bowls, too many playoff games, and to be at his age and to see his energy and to see how his team rally around an elderly person like that says a lot about Coach Pete. Them guys keeping him young, and they respect him not only as a dad, a coach, grandpa, uncle, boss man. They just love being around him. So yeah, this is going to be a close. It's not going to be as they said 10 points. Go to betonline.ag. Make sure y'all put in y'all wages if y'all want to bet on this game right here between the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. But I think it's going to be closer. I think it's going to be 7 or less. So I think it's going to come down to a field goal, to be honest with you. That's just what playoff football is, Mark.
All right, Ike, we will continue. We got to get through 5 matchups here. So we're going to go to Chargers and Jaguars. And Ike, it's just the way these two teams are trending. I know Mike Williams and Joey Bosa appear that they're going to play. We're recording this on Thursday, so we'll see what happens between now and kickoff. But the Chargers have only beaten one playoff team this year, and that was the Dolphins in Week 14. Meanwhile, the Jaguars are playing great football, Ike, on the back half of the season, and you're finally seeing who you call Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, is doing, Ike. And so, again, the Chargers are 0-5 so 1-5 against playoff teams this year. Jaguars are 7-2 in their last 9 games. This line opened at 1.5. Now the Chargers are favored by 2.5, which leads me to believe both Williams and Bosa are going to play. But just the momentum of both teams, I'm going to go with the Jaguars with how they've played on the back half of the season. Give me the Jaguars at home in Jacksonville.
I'm rocking with you, Mark. I'm gonna take the Jags. The Jags just Coach Doug got them boys playing. Sunshine playing out his mind too. The back of the season, Trevor Lawrence, I'm talking about as a quarterback. Ain't nobody been hotter than Trev and Jared Goff. We talked about this before. You know, and they first round draft pick, he been playing out his mind as well, coming off that edge. You know, and Travis Etienne, since he became healthy, he been playing out his mind as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Christian Kirk, he been playing out his mind as well. They thought they paid him too much in the offseason. He been playing out his mind too.
Yep.
And I forgot my little young pup number 2, the safety. He been coming downhill. He been playing out his mind too. So the Jags energy is just different right now, man. Coach Doug got them boys playing and got them playing physical too. They playing physical ball. Ain't nothing finesse about the Jags. Them boys coming downhill and they playing smash mouth. I like the Chargers. I like Justin Herbert. But I just like the Jags a little bit. And you know, Justin, he got his weapons back. He got all his weapons back. And yeah, they got some outside linebacker / defense end between Mack and Bosa. You don't want to see them. But it's just the Jags, man. They playing with that flow of energy right now.
Yeah, Rayshon Jenkins, like the safety number 2 for the Jags.
I love him. I love him so much.
All right, Dolphins and Bills, like this is pretty simple. Tua's not playing because of a concussion, and this line moved tremendously when that news came out on Wednesday as well. This line opened up at 13, or excuse me, the line was at 9 points. When the Tua news came out, Bills are now favored by 13. Dolphins have lost 5 of their last 6 games entering the postseason. It's going to be tough if it's rookie Skylar Thompson. They're going to try to get Teddy Bridgewater back. He's got a dislocated pinky. But I'm going to take the Bills at home. And again, 13 points is a lot. So the bet I would place, put a money line parlay, take the Bills on the money line, and then in the other game we mentioned earlier, take the 49ers on the money line. 2-game parlay. That's what I would do if I'm placing a wager this weekend on betonline.ag.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to rock with the Bills. They playing inspired. Them boys just catching fire right now. But they clicking on all cylinders. Really, too. Because special teams, they won a 2-piece. They got 2 touchdowns by Poirier last week with the 2 kickoff returns to the house. Defense been playing pretty dang good. They still got to stop the run because they got ran on a little bit before. And Josh Allen got to start off. He got to start off fast. To be totally honest with you. But I think they just going to come together as a team and beat the Dolphins. I thought if Tua was playing, Miami would have had a shot because they do have a 2-headed monster as well when you want to talk about what they running backs in the backfield. We ain't even talking about the 2 receivers, Cheetah 1 and Cheetah 2. We ain't even talking about that. And their defense been playing lights out as well as the Dolphins. So, yeah, but I'm going to roll with the Bills, man. The Bills is, they tired. And what I mean by them being tired, they tired, as Josh Allen saying, wearing them goddamn hats, man. Them championship hats and not actually going to the Super Bowl and winning one. So I got the Bills on this one as well.
All right, Ike. Next matchup, Giants and Vikings. The Vikings are 11-0 in 1-score games this season. That is an NFL record. And this Vikings defense is what, to me, is most troublesome. Finished the season in 29th in points allowed and 31st in yards allowed. I think Justin Jefferson is the game breaker to where if he goes off, he could carry this team to a deep postseason run. But it's like, at what point are they going to get caught? So having said this, I will take the Giants as my upset pick. I'm following the crowd, Ike. I think the Giants are a favorite for a lot of people. But I just, in the regular season, Vikings, exciting football. I just think at some point it's going to catch up with them this season. I'm going to take the Giants on the road.
I'm going to do the same thing you just did, Mark. I'm going to take the Giants on the road as well. And the reason why is they have the best coach who adjusts in the second half out of anybody I've seen so far this year. The Giants in the second half, when they want to talk about adjustments, They do everything to stop you, and they do everything to score. And Daniel Jones can run. And this is exactly what Daniel Jones been doing. If he hasn't been liking what he's been saying, passing the ball, he'll take off and run. I think people forget how athletic Daniel Jones is as a quarterback as well. And Saquon is back. He just texts on his Twitter, "I reloaded." If anybody know anything about Jay-Z and that blueprint,
Ike, we got you back. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Talking about the reasons you like the Giants.
I was going. Yes, I was going with the Giants, Mark.
All right, Saquon's back. I'm excited to watch that one. And Daboll, the head coach, I think is going to be up for consideration for Coach of the Year. We've got two more, Ike. Ravens and Bengals. This game opened as 7-point favorites for the Bengals. It's now at 8.5, which leads me to believe that odds makers don't think Lamar Jackson will play. We still don't know. He hasn't practiced as of Wednesday. And to expect Lamar Jackson to come back and just save this Ravens team, I think, is a bit silly, Ike. I'm going to get you a few stats as well about how they haven't been the same team. Ravens averaging 24 points per game with Jackson in weeks 1 through 12. They've averaged just 12.5 since Jackson has been out. If Lamar doesn't play, the Ravens don't have a chance in this one. I know it's a divisional matchup. I like the Bengals at home.
Yeah, it's just pound for pound, the Bengals have the best offense. I'm not talking about offensive coordinator. I'm just talking about talent and offense. You want to give yourself 3 receivers between T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. Here you go. Yeah, Mark, the Bengals, pound for pound, I think they got the best offense. Between the wide receivers, T, Boyd, and Chase, the two-headed monster in the back between Piron and Mixon. And, Joe Cool is probably one of my favorite quarterbacks because he always stays even keel regardless on what goes on around him, including all the chaos. So the Bengals, man, I think the Bengals would beat the Ravens regardless if Lamar was coming back or not. That's just how good I feel about the Bengals. So quietly, we haven't been talking about the Bengals, but quietly the Bengals been hitting their stride as well, which is very scary. So you can just ask, Patrick Mahomes about the Bengals because he's 0-3 as a starter. They're 0-7 just in general. So that says a lot. The Bengals have KC's number. To be determined. We'll see if that matchup comes back again between the Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sure that'll be a good one. But on this one, I have the Bengals over the Ravens.
All right, Ike, I got to get you out of here really quickly. Cowboys and Bucks. I'm going to say this. I'm not going against Brady. Like, if I'm looking at and I take away the uniforms, I take away the team colors, all of that, I would pick the Cowboys. I can't go against Tom Brady. And we say, oh, is this a different Cowboys team? Is it going to be like the Cowboys teams of the mid-90s? Until I'm proven otherwise, give me Tom Brady and the Buccaneers at home.
Hey, I said this when I saw the schedule. I said this. That's what I said. I said I can't go to betonline.ag and bet, but I'm not betting against Tom Brady until otherwise is proven. Tom just turned into a different person when it comes down to playoffs. He put the cape on. He go from being okay to turning into the Hulk. So yeah, when Tom hit that playoff, it's just a totally different person. And plus he's 7-0. I know he was with the Patriots, but in one game with the Bucks, but he's 7-0 against the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see. I think it'll be a good game, but I can't bet against Tom in the playoffs until further notice.
I'm with you, Ike. I'm going to let you out of here, Ike. I am going to share my thoughts, so I will take you off screen. I'm going to let you run. Got to go to the Hula Bowl scouting. So check out Ike's Instagram for some behind the scenes. I'll let you run. Awesome talking to you as always. I will finish out the show because I want to share some thoughts about Roquan Smith's extension, what the Bears should do, #1 pick, and best head coaching vacancy. We can talk about that here in the coming weeks, Ike, but I know that you got your Steelers scouting responsibilities that you need to get to.
I appreciate you, bro. Want to give a big shout out to Mark. I want to give a big shout out to you, bro. Got to give a big shout out to betonline.ag. Bleav in Steelers podcast. Of course, everybody who's working behind the scenes and making us look good. Want to appreciate everybody. What Yinz Think? Keep writing us questions because we do have answers. We love that segment. Anything else I missed? Oh, yeah, make sure y'all give us that 5-piece make sure y'all give us a 5-star rating. And make sure y'all give us that 5-star rating and subscribe to us as well. But I want to appreciate everybody, man, just tuning in and watching Marking Down and Bleav on the Steelers podcast.
All right, T, you're the absolute best. Hi, the family as well. I am going to stay on here. Give me just a second. And all the best at the Hula Bowl today, Ike.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Mark.
The Ravens signing Roquan Smith to a 5-year extension, $20 million per year, 100 mil, 60 guaranteed, highest paid linebacker in the league. What does this mean now for Lamar Jackson? You could say, well, did the Ravens overpay? Maybe, but what this means for Lamar Jackson is they're going to try to get him under the franchise tag for the 2023 season and say, hey, prove it yet again. That's what this means to me. So we'll see how contract negotiations go. But if you're spending that much on Roquan, you got to spend that much on a quarterback. Lamar hasn't been healthy, though. So are the Ravens going to hold that against him? Is the exorbitant amount that the Browns spent on Deshaun Watson and the exorbitant amount that the Cardinals spent on Kyler Murray actually going to go against Lamar Jackson's favor? Because both of those quarterbacks didn't perform at the level that maybe other people expected them to this season. So we'll see. But I think this, to me, it shows that the Ravens are going to try to franchise tag Lamar in 2023. We'll see how all this plays out. Or if Lamar says, hey, trade me, because he is the most marketable player in the NFL. All the little kids, when they're playing Madden, they want to play with Lamar Jackson, and they want Lamar Jackson's jersey. It's not just his on-field ability at the quarterback position. It's his marketability, and someone, for all intents and purposes, has been an upstanding dude off the field as well. You don't really hear a lot of negative publicity about Lamar Jackson. And I thought it was funny, too. You saw some reports float out, and you think, okay, where's this coming from? That Lamar was like slacking behind the scenes. And it's just like, this is an interesting wrinkle in the negotiations as we figure out what is the future for Lamar. Is it in Baltimore? Is it with another team? My crazy half-baked theory is that he winds up in Tampa if Tom Brady moves on from the Buccaneers. Just my half-baked theory. Just my half-baked theory. Bears have the number 1 pick. Here's what I would do if I were Chicago in their shoes. Trade down to whatever slot you know that you can still get Georgia's Jalen Carter, because you've got to fill voids of Akeem Hicks is no longer there, the guy who held it down in the middle for your defense for a long time. Khalil Mack is now with the Los Angeles Chargers. Roquan Smith is no longer there. You traded him to the Ravens. And Robert Quinn, you traded to the Eagles. So this defense needs help. The offense with Justin Fields say, wait a second, this was perhaps the worst offensive line in the league. And Justin Fields, if you look, we're all tantalized by his ability, but who's he throwing to? So he has perhaps a top 5 worst offensive line, perhaps a top 5 worst wide receiving group. But this is why I trade down. I get Jalen Carter to fortify the middle of my defense, and then I can use those other picks to get Justin Fields the help that he needs. Now, I do understand the logic to say, should the Bears trade Justin Fields for more picks, and then you could draft, say, a Bryce Young or one of the other quarterbacks number 1, because if you draft a rookie quarterback, you have 5 years of a rookie quarterback salary. Right now, Justin Fields and the Bears, they got 3 years left. The 2 years left on the remaining on the rookie deal and the 5th-year option. Time is ticking, and so if you're not going to improve the roster quickly around Fields, eventually you're going to have to pay him when his rookie deal is up. Now, the Bears have more than $100 million in salary cap space. They have a ton of picks. So it's like a blank canvas of how do you want it to improve this Bears roster quickly. But now remember, they don't have their 2nd-round pick because they traded that away to the Steelers in the Chase Claypool trade. So if you're the Bears, what do? I understand the logic in drafting a rookie quarterback, but that's a total unknown in terms of a rookie quarterback's ability to develop in this league. It's really like a 50-50 proposition. So unless you have someone that just blows you away, I would see what you have in Justin Fields. Go on and draft a stud at the top, but trade down, because if you just draft that stud with the number 1 pick, there is going to be a team that wants to move up to number 1 to make sure that they're getting their guy, particularly and probably at the quarterback position. So if I'm the Bears, how much value can I get for that number 1 pick? How much value can I get for that number 1 pick? And I've thought about it a lot of, should the Bears trade away Justin Fields? And it's like, do you want to try to rip the Band-Aid off to treat a flesh wound yet again? Yet again, because this is a franchise that had been looking for a quarterback since Sid Luckman. So that's just my thought process and logic with the Chicago Bears of what I think that they should do. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of time between now and April's draft of how the Bears should handle this. And one other thought with this. The Bears general manager, Ryan Poles, got asked about, do you want to build around Justin Fields? And he said, yeah, we think he's the quarterback of the future. We'd have to be blown away to say, hey, we'll draft the quarterback with the number 1 pick and consider trading Fields. Ryan Poles isn't going to answer that question honestly for this reason. If he says, yes, we're considering trading Justin Fields, we're definitely evaluating quarterbacks, he's diminishing Fields' value. So if you're Ryan Poles, you want to drive up Fields' value to say, could you get a first-round pick and maybe a third-round pick? I've seen a lot of trade possibilities out there, but Fields was a first-round pick. Remember that. Could you get multiple picks for Justin Fields? Could you get multiple picks that's even beyond what his value was when the Bears drafted him in the first round 2 years ago? So when Ryan Poles answers that question, even if the Bears are seriously considering Fields, and I'd expect them to, they were 3-14 this past season. They should consider all options, is the point I'm trying to make. Poles isn't going to say, yeah, we're definitely considering trading Justin Fields, because he doesn't want to diminish the value on his own asset. So think about that more critically in terms of verbatim what he says, because if, say, the Bears do draft Justin Fields, there's going to be a media uproar of, well, Ryan Poles said that this wasn't going to happen. That's not what's happening here. He's trying to make sure that the value of his quarterback remains high, while also instilling confidence in Fields if Fields does return back for the 2023 season, which is what I expect, by the way. So there's some strategic, like it's not just verbatim what he's saying to media members, because it's not in Ryan Poles or the Chicago Bears' best interest to completely tell the truth when you're asking that question of, hey, what are you going to do with Justin Fields this offseason? It's going to be very interesting to see how all of that shakes out. But again, if I'm Ryan Poles and the Bears, trade down, go get Jalen Carter, fortify the middle of your defense, get more picks back, and then use the rest of those picks to help Justin Fields out. Up front, tight end, wide receiver. I'd start at the line of scrimmage. When he sacked for a league high in sacks this season, 55 times Justin Fields was sacked in the 2022 season. That's what I would do. Final segment of the show. There are 5 head coaching vacancies. The Colts, the Broncos, the Panthers, the Texans, and the Cardinals all in market for a new head coach. Which is the best? Which is the best vacancy? If you had your choice, which one are you going with? And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going with the Texans. You've got the 2nd and the 12th overall pick. You've got a blank canvas of how you can improve your team. Now, this is a franchise that has gone through coaches year after year after year after year after year after year, really ever since Bill O'Brien left town. But with the 2nd and the 12th pick, you can begin to rebuild. And to me, go get your quarterback. Go get your quarterback. And I know this team needs a lot of help in other areas, but like, do you really think Davis Mills is going to cut it in this league? It's not to say he can't be a serviceable quarterback, but to win a Super Bowl, to hoist the Lombardi, to me, the best vacancy is the Texans. If I had my choice of the 5, that's what I'm going with, because the Colts still have to figure out the quarterback position. The Broncos, for better or for worse, you're tied to Russell Wilson for the next several years, given his massive contract. The Panthers, on the cusp, they don't play in a great division, but what do they have, the 7th pick? Okay, you're still kind of trying to pine for a playoff spot in the Panthers as you try to get back to what you had during the Cam Newton era. And then the Cardinals also, you're tied with Kyler Murray, and how long is it going to take Kyler Murray to get back onto the field? So you're tied in a marriage with Kyler Murray whenever he comes back, whenever that may be. To me, the Texans, blank slate, and you can create it as you want to. And you're going to get 2 pretty good players, at least talented players, with the 2nd and the 12th overall pick in this upcoming draft. Again, my name's Mark Bergin. Thanks to Ike Taylor today. I know he had to get rolling. He's at the Hula Bowl scouting for the Steelers. So when we get to these offseason evaluation of players, he's boots on the ground at a lot of these all-star games. He'll be at the Senior Bowl later. It's going to be great talking with him because he will see a lot of the prospects coming out in the 2023 draft up live in person. So to get his perspective is going to be outstanding this off season. Really excited for Wild Card Weekend. Again, 6 games starting Saturday. Enjoy all of the festivities. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the Bleav in Steelers show. Let us know what you think, what Yinz think. We'll include you in the show. We love that segment. And thanks for all the people who take the time to listen and watch our program. I'll see you next time. Signing off, this is Mark Bergin. Thanks so much for watching.